This conference will now be recorded.
Very good evening to all of you present for today's session.
Ma'am.
So, good evening. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. So, in today's session, we will continue with the contra vouchers, which we had started off in the previous class. Okay. Right. So, we had done with the first entry of deposit of funds into the bank. We had revised with three, four banks. So, I hope all of you are clear with the first entry. Now we'll go for the withdrawal entry from the bank. And how do we go about it? What are the steps to be taken? Okay, so let's start the class today. Yeah. So here we have withdrawal of cash of rupees 3000 from HDFC Bank. Company is withdrawing funds of 3000 from HDFC Bank. Now, when there is a withdrawal entry to be recorded in Tally software, what is the procedure to go about it? Now, as a common person, as genuinely, what step do we take whenever we have to withdraw funds from the bank, whether it is by an ATM or by using a check or whatever is the mode of withdrawal we follow? Irrespective of that, before stepping on for the withdrawal entry from the bank, what is the first step a person takes? He would check his cash bank balance. Yes, cash in case if he's using out his cash, or when he's withdrawing funds from the bank, he has to check out his bank balance. Yes, how much funds he's carrying out in the bank, what is the current bank balance, and from that how much he has to withdraw. Now in Tally software, how do we check the bank balance? What steps can be taken? Yes, very interesting part would be this. I hope all of you have logged into your Tally software. Okay, and from here I'll just take you through how do you check the bank balance in the Tally software, right? So we have an option of go to here, right? If you can all observe in the horizontal button bar, if you can see where my mouse pointer is moving. Yeah, so we have the go to option here. Okay, when I'm signifying it, Alt G, go to option. Click on the go to option in the horizontal button bar. Okay, and over there you have an option as cash or bank book. Can you observe here? Under common reports, you have cash or bank book. Press enter on cash or bank book. Yes. So currently I'm having cash of rupees 5 lakh. Okay. And in case if I'm having some bank balance, it would also show over here itself. Okay. Now for you it would show numerous banks. Why? Because you have passed various deposit entries in the banks. For me, I had to recreate the company on account of certain issues. So henceforth, my earlier entries are not in this new company. So henceforth, there's nothing to worry about it. In your cash or bank summary, of course, you have numerous bank and their bank balance accordingly. Yes. Now, here we can see the cash or bank balance. Now, if you see in the list of the banks, do you have the HDFC bank account being reflected in the cash or bank summary? Would you see that? If you have a sufficient balance, now make sure in case if you are able to see HDFC bank in the cash or bank summary, check out the amount of funds, how much is HDFC bank having, because I have to withdraw 3000 from HDFC bank, so I must have 3 and more than that. Okay, now in my Tally software I'm not having the HDFC bank at all, which means of course, I carry a HDFC bank account. That is my company's bank account. but I've not updated the same in the Tally software. That would be in my case. But in your case, if there is HDFC Bank existing, please check the amount what it is, how much the bank is carrying. Okay. So in my case, since I'm not having the HDFC Bank, what do I do is before passing a withdrawal entry from the bank, first I have to make sure that I'm having sufficient funds in the bank. Yes, and for which I have to create a HDFC Bank and update the current bank balance as the opening balance in the ledger creation window, which I'm going to do here. Okay, so I'll go to the create option. I'll select ledger and I will create HDFC Bank. Under the group of bank, as usual, I will move down straight to the opening balance and I'll give an amount of 1 lakh. I'll type the amount as 1 lakh. I press enter, enter, accept, yes. Now, let me check what is the bank balance. As usual, I'll go to the go to option here. I'm showing it again. I'll go to the cash or bank book. Can you see here? So currently I'm having a cash of 5 lakhs. In the HDFC Bank I'm having 1 lakh. So I'm having sufficient bank balance to withdraw 3000 rupees from the bank. Okay. So what we have to do here is we have to pass a withdrawal entry using a contra voucher. So how do we go about it? Vouchers. And what is the function key for a contra voucher? It is F4. Use F4. Okay, you get the contra voucher, and over here we have to pass a withdrawal entry. Now whenever we are passing a withdrawal entry, now I have to withdraw funds from the HDFC Bank. Yes, so what would be my entry? Now the credit aspect is appearing first, the debit aspect is appearing next. Yes, as per the rule of contra, format of contra voucher. Now, when I'm withdrawing funds from the bank, cash is coming into my business. So cash belongs to the real account, right? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So the cash account has to be debited, and coming to HDFC Bank, HDFC is a artificial person, right? And what's the rule of a personal account? Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Now, when I'm withdrawing funds from HDFC Bank, HDFC Bank becomes the giver of funds. When I'm depositing, HDFC Bank becomes the receiver of funds. Since I'm withdrawing here, it becomes a giver. So, credit HDFC Bank, right? So, and this is the way we pass the entry. 3000 here on the credit side and 3000 here on the debit side. Yes, and this is the way we pass the entry. The same we will reflect also in the Tally software under contra voucher. Okay, so let's go for it. Credit HDFC Bank. Type amount as 3000 rupees. Once you type the amount as 3000 rupees, press enter, you get the bank allocation screen. Now Tally would be asking you, how are you withdrawing funds? Now usually, of course, checks have been a long way. Only when we go for a big amount of withdrawal, that time, of course, for company purposes, we still use checks. But personally or officially also, if it is a small amount, we normally we don't use a check. Yes, this all of us agree. Suppose I'm not using a check. I'm using some other mode of withdrawal. So where can I see those modes? How could I make out that in Tally software? What do I do is, now in the transaction type, we have already been reflected as check here. So what do? I press the space bar Once I press the space bar, I get three options: check, e-fund transfer, and others. Now I want some more options. Probably I have withdrawn from the ATM or some other mode. How do I go about it? We have an option as show more at the top under transaction type screen. I hope this is visible to all of you.
Can you show it again, ma'am?
Can you
Uh,
repeat?
from where you want me to repeat?
I'm from HDFC bank account.
From your ma'am.
Okay, have you typed the amount as 3000?
Yes.
Okay, once you type the amount as 3000, press enter. Have you got the bank allocation screen?
Yes.
Huh. So now what is the transaction type been appearing there? You have check already been reflecting there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So now let's assume you're withdrawing 3000 from ATM. Okay. So what we do is we press the space bar. Press the space bar in your keyboard. You get a list of transaction types. Now all of you are able to get this screen. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So now you get show more option. Press enter on show more. You get a complete list. Whether I'm withdrawing from the ATM, I'm using my card, a check, an ECS, electronic clearance scheme, an e-fund transfer, or I'm using a DD or others. Can you see? So which is the mode of withdrawal you can choose. So if I'm choosing ATM, so I'll select ATM. Yes. Amount is 3000. I press enter. Now, since I'm withdrawing from the ATM, do I need to give the check number? INST is nothing but the instrument number, check number. Since I'm using my card to withdraw from ATM, I don't need to give any check number. So, what do? I press enter. Of course, don't take out the date, please, because if we try to take out the date, it will not allow you to pass the entry. See, it is stopped over there. So, don't ever try to remove the date. So, that will be 1st of April itself. Press enter and you come back to the main screen. Now enter, you get the list of ledgers. Now cash is coming into the business, right? So you select cash and 3000 you get. So enter and pass the narration being cash withdrawn from the bank. Yes. And this is how we pass the entry.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I'm getting current balance as 3,000 credit, ma'am, and you're getting 97,000 debit. So
3000
credit
in
balance,
the
I'm getting.
No, have you checked out what is the current bank balance in HDFC?
Maybe I missed that, ma'am.
So how do you go about it? You have the go to option in the horizontal button bar. Can you observe here?
Yes, ma'am.
So go to the Alt G, go to option. You are able to get the common reports under list of
Yes,
reports.
yes, ma'am.
There you have cash or bank book.
Yes, ma'am.
Press enter on that. Now,
Yes,
yeah, so now do you have HDFC Bank existing in your list of bank accounts?
yes, ma'am.
And what it is showing, debit or credit balance?
Credit balance of 3,000, ma'am.
Why? Because it is an overdraft balance. There is insufficient funds, and if you go for a withdrawal, of course, which means I don't have funds, sufficient funds. I'm passing a withdrawal entry. Could we do that? No. Only when you're having a current account, probably for business purposes. If I'm having an SB account, I cannot go for the same. That's why it is showing a credit balance. So what you have to do is you need not have any issue here. What you can do is you can go to Alt G again. Okay.
All. Okay.
Alt G, you have at the top Alter Master.
Yes, ma'am.
So select Alter Master,
Okay.
select Ledger.
Yes, ma'am.
Now do you see HDFC Bank in the list of ledgers?
Yes, ma'am.
Select HDFC Bank.
Okay.
Now what is your opening balance over there?
It's nothing, ma'am.
Now you got the point. So
Okay.
now what you should do is press enter and head straight to the opening balance
Yes, ma'am.
and give opening balance as 1 lakh, which I've given you. Okay.
1 lakh. Yes.
Press type 1 lakh, enter, accept, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you.
Once you give, press escape, come back to the cash and bank summary. Now what balance you have now?
97,000 debit balance, ma'am.
Yes. Press escape
Thank
key. Now come back to the contra voucher.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes, pa.
ma'am, could you please repeat the previous step where you showed the bank allocation?
Bank allocation, is it? Okay, let me pass this entry and show you. HDFC Bank you have on the credit side, and once you type the amount 3000, press enter, you get the bank allocation screen. You're able to get
What
this?
ma'am?
Huh?
There once I tap on space bar, what should I select, ma'am?
Space bar, you get the transaction type screen.
Yes, ma'am.
There you select show more.
Okay, ma'am.
Did you get the first option as ATM?
Yes, ma'am.
Press enter. ATM gets
Okay,
selected. Okay. Now need
okay, ma'am.
not give the INST number. INST is check number. So just press enter, enter, enter. You'll come back to the main screen. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So now debit cash. 3000
Okay,
will
ma'am.
come automatically. Okay. So be
Okay, ma'am.
cash withdrawn from the bank.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So all of you pass the entry in case you haven't done. Yeah. I hope all of you have passed the withdrawal entry from the bank. Accept please. Okay. Now we go for the next set of entries which we have done for deposit and withdrawal. Okay. Yes, I'm having the entries here. Now, the previous class you had gone for opened a bank account with the SBI, the last entry which you had passed. So we're not going to do that again. Rather, we will pass the fourth and the fifth entry. The fourth entry is withdrawal of cash of 10,000 each from HDFC Bank and Syndicate Bank. Deposit of cash of 10,000 equally for Canada and for ICICI Bank. Okay. So what we'll do is we will pass a deposit entry and we'll go for a withdrawal entry next. Okay. So first we'll pass deposit of cash of 10,000 equally for Canada and ICICI, which means 10,000 have to deposit in Canara Bank, 10,000 have to be deposited in ICICI Bank. So totally, how much we are depositing here? We are depositing 20,000. 10 for Canara, 10 for ICICI Bank. So let's go back to the tally screen. Right, vouchers, F4 contra. So now credit, what we have to select? Cash, because cash is going out into the bank. Yeah. So credit cash, total amount to be withdrawn is 20. So deposited is 20. Okay. So we'll type the amount as 20 Press enter. Now we have the DR, the debit. Press enter to get the list of ledgers. Yes. And now we're depositing into Canara and ICICI Bank. Now ICICI Bank is already existing in your list of ledgers. You can select it, but in my list of ledgers it is not appearing, so I'm going to create on spot. Now I'll go to create option ICICI Bank. You need not do that because in your company's ICICI Bank is already existing. Yes. Now here, yes, I deposit 10,000. So we change the amount because Tally will presume that you deposit full 20 into ICICI Bank, but I have to correct it as 10,000. Press enter. Now we have got the bank allocation screen. Okay. So now I'm depositing in the form of cash itself. So I'll retain transaction type as cash only. Okay. So I'll just press enter. I get the denomination stream. This all of you have got in the previous class. The first class we got for contra vouchers. Now 10,000 rupees, I will leave it to you. What denomination you want to choose, you can choose. So here I'm choosing 2,000 into 5 notes. It will aggregate up to 10,000 rupees. I'll press enter. Need not give the bank name. Press enter. Yes. Now there is one more bank deposit I'm doing, that is Canara Bank. So press enter. Now I don't have Canara Bank in my list of banks. So I go to the create option. I create Canara Bank under bank accounts. Yes. 5,000. Enter. So being cash deposited into the banks. And this is how we pass the entry. So please pass the entry, all of you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, in that account voucher creation, I'm getting payment, ma'am, but in your screen it is contra, ma'am.
We are doing contra vouchers for now. Pay.
But in my screen it's coming as payment, ma'am.
So you have to change it to contra, right? By using F4. We are discussing contra vouchers now. So what you have to do is you just press F4 now in your computer.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Now pass the entry. All of you are done?
Ma'am,
Okay.
I had to rejoin due to network issue. Can you tell me how did you get that Canada Bank?
You have to create it on
Like,
spot now. Have you entered ICICI
no,
Bank and entered
ma'am.
10,000?
After
Create.
that I typed, oh, okay, 10,000. Okay.
ICICI Bank
I'll
will
do
give
directly
10,000.
20,000.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, okay.
Did you get it?
Yes, ma'am, I'm doing it.
Okay. Do it. Carry on. So for the others who have got the entry, accept. Yes. Now the next one we go is withdrawal of cash of 10,000 from HDFC and Syndicate. Here lies an interesting question. Company is withdrawing 10,000 from HDFC, 10,000 from Syndicate Bank. Now that time what I told you, when we are withdrawing 3,000 from HDFC Bank, I need to check the bank balance. So where I need to go? The cash and bank summary. By going to Alt G, go to option. So there I need to check what is the current balance of HDFC and Syndicate Bank, because I have to go for a withdrawal entry. So I'll go to the Tally software, and over here I will go to Alt G, that is go to option, and I have your cash or bank book. So I'll press enter on cash or bank book. Now, as of now, in the HDFC Bank, I'm having 97,000. So I'm having sufficient funds to withdraw 10,000 from HDFC Bank. But in the list of bank accounts, I'm not having Syndicate Bank. Though I'm carrying or holding a Syndicate Bank in my of my companies, but I'm unable to see here Syndicate Bank because I haven't created the bank account in my company's uh, stream. In my company, Syndicate Bank is not being created, so I've created. Now the question comes: what kind of creation should I go for a Syndicate Bank? Of course, only when I show it will be very much clear. Now, you you all don't please start the entry. Let me explain you the difference, and then you can begin up. Okay? Please don't begin along with me. Just observe. Of course, I'll pass it along with you, but just observe first. Now, when we're going for a withdrawal entry, now credit who? Credit the bank. Debit cash. So let me select HDFC Bank. Let me type the amount as 10,000 because I'm withdrawing 10,000. Let it be checked. Now, since I'm withdrawing from one more bank, now I'm having two banks, right? So what do? I will convert the DR into CR. Now, as I told, Syndicate Bank is not existing. Now, please do observe this. It is very, very important. Now, I do have a create option here. What is this create option? That we can create the ledgers on the spot. Yes. Now, when I select the create option, this is a spot ledger creation in Tally. Now, when I go for a spot ledger creation for Syndicate Bank, I have to give the opening balance for Syndicate Bank because without giving a sufficient bank balance, I can't go for a withdrawal entry. Now, if all of you can observe, do we have the opening balance at the bottom here when I go for a spot ledger creation? No,
No,
No.
ma'am.
we don't have this, which means we cannot go for a spot ledger creation when there is a withdrawal entry, because if I have to update the bank balance, I need to have the opening balance here. Okay, and if I have to create the ledger with the opening balance, especially for a withdrawal entry, I can't go for a spot ledger because there is no opening balance existing. So what I should do? Now I don't want to quit the contra voucher. Rather, from without quitting the contra voucher only, I want to create Syndicate Bank. So the best option we can follow in TallyPrime software is the go to option. So what we can do is we can select the go to option, and at the top, if you can observe, we have create master. So if you go to create master, select that, you have the ledger, select ledger under create master. Can you observe here? Now we have the opening balance. So here easily I can give the syndicate bank details along with the opening balance, which means I'll put it up in short that for deposit of funds, spot ledgers can be created. Yes, how spot ledgers can be created, because it is an inflow of funds. Yeah, now I'm having a zero balance. Let's say my salary account is open. Would they deposit money and then open with my salary account? No, it'll be zero balance itself. Only when I get my first month's salary, it'll be credited, which means until then my bank balance is zero itself, right? So zero plus my salary will become positive amount, yeah, a plus figure. So spot ledgers don't have opening balance. I can't give the opening balance. It is at a zero balance. So when I deposit funds into the bank, it becomes an inflow of funds. So henceforth I can go for a spot ledger. Okay, but if I go for a withdrawal of funds, what can happen? Whenever I have to go for a withdrawal of funds, okay, can't use spot ledgers. Okay, can't use spot ledgers because don't carry opening balance. Is that clear? So I'm having my bank account, I want to update in Tally, and if I go and create a spot ledger, it doesn't carry an opening balance. Henceforth, I cannot create a spot ledger. Rather, I have to go to Alt G, go to Option, go to Create Master, and with that I can create a ledger. So this knowledge you must have. When to create a spot ledger or when to use a spot ledger, when not to use a spot ledger, especially when you come for the contra vouchers. For the rest of the vouchers, it doesn't give, I mean, it doesn't play an important role. But when it comes to the contra voucher, it plays a very, very important role. When to create a spot ledger, when not to create a spot ledger. I hope it's clear to all of you. So let me pass this entry now. I will just refresh it. Let us pass the entry together. Okay. Now I'm in the gateway of Tally. I'll go to the vouchers. I'm in the contra voucher F4. Now I'm withdrawing from Syndicate and from Hdfc Bank. Okay. In my list of ledgers, I'm not having Syndicate. I have to create. So first of all, what is the entry to be passed? Credit the banks because banks becomes the givers. Debit cash because cash is coming in of 20,000. So credit HDFC Bank is already existing. So select HDFC, type the amount as 10,000, press enter. Now Tally would be asking, how are you withdrawing funds? You're using a check, you're using an ATM, your wish. So if you're giving the check itself, retain as check itself, need not change. Press enter, enter. Give any 6-digit number as a check number. Okay, we have to give the check number here. So I'm giving a 6-digit because a check always has 6 digits. So give the check number. Let the instrument date be as it is. Press enter. Now it is showing as debit cash, but I'm withdrawing from one more bank, right? Syndicate. So what I should do? I should convert the DR into CR. CR. Credit. Once you type CR, press enter first. You'll get the list of ledgers. And over here, what we have to do, as I told, we cannot use this create option. Rather, we have to go to the Alt G, go to option, and go to create master. That is this. Go to create master, press enter on create master, and select ledger. Now create a ledger at Syndicate Bank. Under bank accounts, straight head down to the opening balance and give the opening balance. So I'm giving you 50,000. Okay. So type 50, press enter, accept, yes. So once you accept yes, it will again be in the ledger creation window itself. So what you should do, press escape key. It will come as quit. Press one more escape. You'll come back to the list of masters. Escape key. You'll come back to the contra voucher. Now select syndicate. Type 10,000. Once you type 10,000, press enter. You can take as check only. Give the check number. Debit cash. Being cash withdrawn from the banks. Type the narration and pass the entry. All of you are done? So Husna, you have got a cash balance of 4,03,000. Let it be, because once you go for a withdrawal entry or a transfer to the banks, cash will be decreasing, no? So that's not an issue. And Kashish, of course, there is a question: will you share the PPT? Of course, we. Okay, done. Yeah, I'll answer to your question, Kashish. Of course, now through the PPT itself, all discussions are being held. So once it is done, we will let you know. Okay. Now the PPT itself, with using only, I'm holding all my discussions. So anyways, you'll be sent with the YouTube recordings, right? That's nothing but the PPT sharing only. I'm doing it in the YouTube, so you can go through that. Okay. So pass the entries. Okay. So I hope all are clear with the deposit and withdrawal entries and the contra voucher. Right. Now, the last one in the contra voucher, the most important, rather, I can say, is the third one. Transfer of cash of 1,500 from ICICI Bank to HDFC Bank. Now, so far we have seen deposits, withdrawal entries, deposits to one bank, more than one bank, again withdrawal from one bank, more than one bank. Now, we are seeing the third type of entry under contra voucher, that is transfer of cash of 5,500 from ICICI to HDFC. Now, assuming that the funds are being transferred by using an e-fund transfer, it can be the NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfer. How would I record this entry? Okay, how do I make up this entry? I have to transfer funds from ICICI Bank to HDFC Bank. Now here we have both the banks existing, right? ICICI and HDFC. Now 1,500 funds are being transferred from ICICI to HDFC, which means here who becomes the giver, who becomes the receiver? Because both are banks and both are artificial persons, both are personal accounts, right? So, what is the rule of personal? Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Now, here, who is the receiver, who is the giver? HDFC Bank becomes the receiver because HDFC Bank is receiving the funds, ICICI Bank is the giver of funds. So from ICICI Bank it is going to HDFC Bank, 1,500. Okay. So we have to make this entry very carefully because here we have to update certain bank details. So you must have a clarity of how it is going on. Okay. Right. So let's pass this entry. So who becomes the um, giver here? As I told, ICICI Bank, right? So select ICICI Bank. Yes. So 1,000. Type the amount as 1,500. Once you type the amount, press enter. And how are we transferring funds from ICICI Bank to HDFC? Where we are going through e-fund transfer, nothing but NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfers. So how do I change up in the transaction type? How did we do the previous one? We use the space bar, right? So press the space bar and over here, can you see under transaction types, you have e-fund transfer. So select e-fund transfer, press enter on e-fund transfer, and here let the amount be 1,500. Press enter, and now here lies the question of what is the account number, IFSC code, bank name to be given. Now here we have to use which banks. So here we have to give the account details of which banks. Is it ICICI Bank or HDFC's? So here we have to give the account number, the bank name, and the IFSC code of the transferor bank. The transferor bank is also called as the remitter bank, right? So from ICICI, since it is going to HDFC, HDFC becomes the beneficiary, while ICICI Bank becomes the remitter or the transferor. So here we have to give the bank details of ICICI Bank. This has to be understood. Yeah, so account number of ICICI Bank. So here give it as 001. IFSC code of the ICICI Bank. Now here, bank name space bar. Now since we are using the trial version, we don't get the list of banks. So what we have to do is, we have to choose specify the bank name and here type as ICICI Bank. Okay. Once you type, press enter and here give the check number of ICICI Bank. Just a second. Sorry for the disturbance. So here, what has to be done is you have to give the check number, bank name, bank details of ICICI Bank. As all of you would have witnessed that whenever we are making an e-fund transfer, right, through NEFT or RTGS, we fill up the NEFT form where we give the remitters and the beneficiary details, and there we attach the check of the transferor bank. Okay, so you give the bank details of the transferor bank, press enter, we'll come back to the main screen, and here debit. Now which bank it is going into? It is going into the HDFC bank.
Ma'am,
So yes, pa.
ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, in that bank name, I'm not getting any, I'm not able to type it, so it's not applicable.
No, you cannot instantly type it. Rather, you have to press the space bar. Did you press the space bar?
Yes.
Now you get specify bank name in that.
Yeah.
Press enter on
Oh,
that.
they, oh, okay.
Okay, now you can type, because if you are using a licensed version, you get the list of banks from A to Z. But since we are using a trial version, we have to type the name of the bank by ourselves. Okay.
Okay.
So now 1500, just press enter. Yes. So when you see, I'll come back again. Debit HDFC Bank, right? So select HDFC. Amount will come instantly. Press enter, and you come to the bank allocation screen. Now, can you observe? Whatever the check we have attached of the ICICI Bank, it will be represented in the bank allocation screen of HDFC Bank, where you can see the INST number. Yeah, INST is nothing but check number of ICICI Bank. Okay, so this is only a witness that whenever we are making any fund transfer, the transferor's bank details will be reflected in the transferee's bank. Okay, so press enter in the instrument date, and here in the bank name you can give the bank name of HDFC. So for that, what you have to do is, so space bar, specify the bank name, and here you have to go for HDFC, type HDFC Bank, and pass the entry. So what narration you give? Being funds transferred to HDFC Bank through NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfers. Okay. So we have completed all the entries under contra vouchers. Once we're done with that, so you can take a break of 5 minutes, and then we can resume the session. Okay, I will leave the screen as it is here. So if you have not done, complete the entry. So we take a break of 5 minutes and then come back to the session. Yes, so we're back after a small break. Okay, so let's continue the session. So, as I told, we are ended with the contra voucher. So, we saw the deposit entries, withdrawal entries, transfers, withdrawal of cash, and deposits, and again opening of a bank account. So we have passed varieties of entries under contra vouchers. Now, in all these entries, what you can make out that there is only cash and bank involved. There is no other third-party ledger. We are including in the contra vouchers. It's only cash and banks. Okay. Now, I hope contra vouchers all are clear before we venture into the next set of vouchers. Any doubt any of you have, just let me know before I proceed to the next set of vouchers.
Excuse me, ma'am, could you repeat the second entry, the withdrawal of cash?
Withdrawal of cash of 3,000 from HDFC Bank. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So when we go for a withdrawal entry, what is the first job you have to do is you have to check the bank balance. Okay. To check the bank balance, you have to go to the go to option in the horizontal button bar, Alt G. So if you click on Alt G, go to option, you have the cash and bank book. So select cash or bank book, press enter on that, you get the cash and bank summary. See at the top, you can see here cash and bank summary. Now normally what we do before we withdraw funds, it will be first what do we do? We check the bank balance, right? How much we are carrying, and then we withdraw funds. Without checking the bank balance, we don't even go for a withdrawal entry, right? In the same way, in the Tally software, this is the way we go. We check the cash and bank status. Now here I see that HDFC Bank is having sufficient funds. So I can easily withdraw 3,000 rupees from HDFC. In case your HDFC Bank is not existing in the list of banks, okay, you have one option, that is go to Alt G, that is go to option again, go to create master, press enter, ledger, and create HDFC Bank here and give the opening balance. Once you give the HDFC Bank and give the opening balance, you can press the escape key, come back to the cash and bank summary. So now you're having sufficient bank balance. So as of now, I'm having 88,500. So what do? I have to withdraw 3,000. Now 3,000 cash I'm withdrawing. So cash is coming into my company, right? When I'm going for a withdrawing, and bank becomes the giver of funds. Yes. So that time credit HDFC Bank 3,000 rupees. Once I type the amount as 3,000, I press enter, and here I'm having a transaction type as check. Now, 3,000 rupees easily can be withdrawn from the ATM more than a check, right? Normally, checks are used for heavy withdrawal of funds. So, if I want to, change from check to ATM, how do I go about it? How can I change the mode of withdrawal, method of withdrawal? So, what do? I press the space bar. Once I press the space bar, I have a show more option here. If I select show more, the first option only I'm having ATM. So I press ATM, click on the ATM option, 3,000 rupees. I need not give the check number because for ATM withdrawal I don't use a check, rather I use a card. So I need not give the INST number, instrument number, or the check number. And don't make changes to the instrument date. Let it be 1st of April, and yes, so debit cash 3,000 rupees, and pass the narration as being cash withdrawn from the banks. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So let's move on to the next set of vouchers in Tally, that is payment vouchers. Yes. So we move to the next new set of discussion, payment voucher. Now, what is the functional key for a contra voucher? It was F4, right? It is F4. Now we are moving to the payment voucher, that is F5. So F5 becomes the payment voucher. Now, for what purpose do we use a payment voucher? To record any payment for any business transaction, we go for a payment voucher. So, yeah. So if I have to pay for the purchase of any asset, if I have to pay for the taxes, or I have to record payment for any kind of expenses, I have to go for a payment voucher. Okay. So as I told, the function key is F5 and path also are given there. That is transactions, vouchers, and F5. Same, how we go to contra? The same way we go for the payment. And most important here is the syntax. Now, how did the contra voucher appear? The credit came first, then the debit. Yes, it's all of us witnessed. The credit aspect appeared first and then the debit aspect. So the credit was cash, otherwise bank we have to select. Debit also either cash, otherwise bank we have to select. Now, what about the syntax of the payment voucher? We are back to the normal positioning. As usual, first appears the debit aspect and then appears the credit aspect. Okay, so the debit aspect is the expense ledger, the credit is the cash or account. Now, what is this expense? Expense ledger is nothing but which kind of expense? Nature of expense. Now we have rent, salaries, advertisement expenses, all there are nature, different expenses, right? So debit that particular expense ledger. Example, debit rent, credit if you're paying rent by cash, credit cash account, or if you're paying rent by using the bank, either by check or refund transfer, you select the bank account. Okay, so that is the way we define the payment vouchers. So debit and credit appears in the respective positions. So this is the set of payment vouchers which we'll be doing it up. Now, the first one we have paid rent of 30,000, commission of 2,000 by cash for Jayanagar branch. So here in this transaction, we have to make a small observation. Company has paid rent, company has paid commission, both by cash for the Jayanagar branch. So here, apart from the journal entry, there is some additional information due. What would be that? It is for Jayanagar branch. I have to process this entry. All of you would have done in initial classes. I had explained you a concept where we had also created the same. So who would answer me? What is that additional application which we have to use this in? And, yes?
Cost center, ma'am.
Very,
Cost
very
center,
good.
ma'am.
Very good. It is cost categories and cost centers. Super. Yes. So this is the observation you do with the entries. Yeah, so when I'm having more than one branch, when I'm having more than one outlet, in case if I have to mark any payment entry for an outlet or something, that time I have to use cost categories and cost centers. Yes. Now, paid rent and commission of by cash for January branch. So, very easy to pass this entry. Now, rent and commission both what? They belong to indirect expenses. So, debit all expenses and losses, nominal account, and how both are being paid by using cash. So, credit cash, and this is for January branch. So, how do we put up the entry? Let's go for it. So, vouchers, F5 payment voucher. So press F5 and watch out whether you're using the right voucher to pass the entry, because wrong voucher will have a different effect. Okay, so make sure you're the right voucher. Now, rent and commission has to be paid by cash. So as told, debit all expenses. Now, here for all the ledgers, as I told, the spot ledger creation and the usual ledger creations is mostly operative for the contra. For the rest, you can easily go for a spot ledger creation. No issues about that. So as usual, we go to the create option in the list of ledgers. Okay, select the create option and create rent paid. Now, rent paid comes under the group of indirect expenses. Type of ledger, it should be not applicable. And is GST applicable? As I told, we will now rule off GST. So, space bar not applicable. Now, I would like to ask you a question. When you're creating the rent paid ledger, are cost centers applicable? Is this question appearing or not appearing in your screen?
Excuse me,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, in our ledger accounts, all the rent paid is appearing. So, like,
Rent
we
paid.
should do
Ha.
the
If
rent
it is
paid ledger is
appearing,
already appearing.
so you can select the ledger, not an issue. If it is already
Okay, and
appearing, you
what about
select
the
it.
balance?
What about the
Balance.
what about no? I don't understand your question. No, if rent paid is appearing, you select it. The amount is 30,000. You can type. But I want to ensure that when you are creating, please do cross check before passing the entry. So if it is appearing for all of you, let me ensure. Now all of you, why don't you go to Alt G, and go to the alter master, go to the ledger. Now I will create it here. You will not create. You can select the rent paid ledger. Okay, I will create it here, but you don't create it. Select the rent paid ledger. Open the ledger, please. Now, please ensure that is cost centers applicable feature appearing in the rent paid ledger.
Yes, ma'am.
If it, okay, so what it is, yes or no in that? Because if the feature is not appearing,
No, ma'am.
okay, okay, so what you can do is please listen to this carefully. Now, you are in the ledger, for me it's a ledger creation window, for you to be in the ledger alteration window, okay? Now, in case cost center feature is not appearing in your screen, what you have to do is you have to press F12 configuration. Can you see at the bottom you have F12 configuration? Press enter on that. Yes, and you have at the top show more configurations. Show more configurations. Press enter. Make it as yes. Again, show all configurations as yes. Now here you have apply cost centers for ledgers. Is it there? If it is there, make it as yes.
Could
Apply
you
cost
repeat?
centers for ledger. Let me make like this. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'll just do it. Now, all of you have created cost centers, so you already have the information with you. So you need not do it again. Let me come back to the question. Now, all of you are in the gateway of tally screen. Come back to the gateway of tally screen. Now go to the alter option. Please all of you come back to the gateway of Tally. Go to the alter option. In the alteration, master alteration screen, select ledger. Okay. Now you have the rent paid ledger already existing, right? You can open that ledger. Since it is not existing in my list of ledger, I will create it. That's all. That is the only difference. Okay. You open up the rent paid ledger. Now my question is, in that rent paid ledger, do you have the feature of cost centers are applicable? If it is not appearing, what you have to do is you have to press F12 configuration. Okay, in that you have a feature as apply cost centers for ledgers and make it as yes. See what I've done here. Apply cost centers for ledgers as yes. Okay. Once you activate this, apply cost centers for ledgers, press Ctrl A and accept the change. Now can you see the cost center features appear? Cost centers are applicable. That has to be compulsorily yes. If it is no, you cannot allocate it to Janagar branch specifically. So cost centers are applicable. It has to be yes, not no. Okay. Rest are same. Okay. So I'll go to the vouchers, payment voucher. So debit, I will select rent paid. What is the quantum of rent being paid? 30,000. So type 30,000 in the amount column. Press enter. Yes, this is important. Now all of you are able to get this cost allocation screen, or still anybody's is not appearing. This is very crucial. If it is not appearing, let me know.
Ma'am, before,
Ah,
ma'am, when we did the previous time, right, rent paid after entering 30,000, before configuring, I already got this option without even changing.
cost cost centers are applicable as yes.
No, ma'am, without changing itself, I got this option, cost category, name of the cost center and all.
Okay, no, if you've got it, it's fine. Well and good. So you've got this cost allocation screen here. That's important.
So, ma'am, if we don't change also, we'll get this.
No, no, it's actually you don't get this. You have to activate this. That's what I told
No,
that day that time. Yeah.
ma'am, without activating itself, I got it. How is
No, no,
that?
it's not even without activating. It's for some companies, it would have been activated. For a few of them, it would remain inactive. Sometimes it happens. So that's why most of them don't get this screen sometimes. That's why I taught you that. In case you're not
But,
getting, this is the way.
okay.
Yeah, what your
But
answer.
then when I
Okay.
went to configure, but it was no.
So just but have you got the screen here? Cost allocation for
Yes,
rent
ma'am.
paid?
Yes, ma'am.
Then it's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, what do we have to press for changing into payment, ma'am?
F5.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So now you have got this cost allocation screen. So what you have to do is, yes, ma'am. Huh?
Haven't
Yeah.
got it, ma'am. I haven't got it.
Okay. Have you typed rent paid and 30,000?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you press enter, have you pressed enter on 30,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you got it?
No, ma'am.
No, you not got it. You not
Ma'am,
got it.
after configuration, I have given the opening balance amount 30,000 and then pressed enter. But it's supposed to go again back to the ledger part, like when we
Okay.
select
So
the ledger.
it's not coming to the cost allocation screen.
No, ma'am.
So what you should do is nothing to worry. You can go to Alt G, go to option. Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Now go to the Alter Master. Go to Alter Master. Select that.
Okay, ma'am.
Now select Ledger
Yes,
and
yes, ma'am.
select Rent Paid. Now, in that rent paid ledger, cost centers are applicable. Is this feature appearing? What is being shown in my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it yes or no there?
It is yes.
Huh. So, yes, then enter, accept, yes. Now, have you created cost categories and cost centers?
Yes, ma'am. I have created cost category, ma'am.
So nothing to worry. Now, press escape key, escape key, come back to the payment voucher. Okay. Now type amount as 30 and press enter again. It will come. So now press the space bar. Now when you press the space bar, all of you, can you see you have Bangalore well. So select Bangalore. In Bangalore, for which branch rent is being paid and commission is being paid? Janagar branch, right? So what you have to do is press the space bar, select Janagar. Press enter on Janagar. Okay. Enter, enter. So it come back to the payment voucher screen. Now, what you do is, now you have one more expense, right? That's commission is being paid for January branch. So, what we do is, we have to press DR again. Once you press DR, press enter. Okay. Now, we don't have the commission paid ledger. Yes? We have to create the commission paid ledger. So what we have to do is, we have to select the create option in the list of ledgers. Select the create option in the list of ledgers. Type the ledger name as commission paid. Same, under indirect expenses, type of ledger not applicable, cost centers are applicable, make sure it is yes. GST space bar not applicable. And this is the way we pass up the ledger. Accept yes. So what is the commission which is being paid? It is 2000 rupees. So type 2000 in the amount column. Press enter. Now again you get this cost allocation screen. So what you have to do? Space bar again. Same procedure. Cost category Bangalore. Space bar China.
Ma'am, I'm not getting anything
Huh?
under the payment voucher.
What happened?
I'm not getting anything on the payment voucher.
No. Anything in the sense you're not getting the cost allocation screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Then I told, right, you have to activate the cost center by going to Alt G. Did you check that? Cost centers are
Yes,
applicable, yes or no? Huh?
yes, ma'am. I changed everything.
So if you check, it will definitely come or F12 configuration here. See, in the F12 configurations, here also it is there. Show list of cost centers as yes.
Okay, ma'am.
That's also applicable. Okay. So if you do that, also you can get. See here. Make sure this is yes. So from the payment voucher, what you can do, make sure that this feature show cost center details as yes. If it is no, it will not appear. Okay. One make it as yes and press Control A. Now credit is what? It is cash. We are paying rent and commission by cash for Janagar branch. Now can you make out here? So in the entry specifically it is being given that for the Jayanagar branch rent and commission is being paid, and for this is the purpose we use cost categories and cost centers. Suppose I'm having 10 to 15 branches also, it will clearly give the allocation by using cost categories and cost centers. So once you type the entry, pass and give the narration as being rent and commission paid by cash. Commission paid for Jayanagar branch. Okay, so type the
Yes,
narration
ma'am.
and pass the entry. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, tell me what's your doubt.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Kashish. Tell me.
Ma'am, actually, the entry that I what do I call? I saved it without the narration. So is
So you
there
have to
any way
add,
that I can do the changes? So is
so
it
how do I get
basically
that?
all?
No, no, no. You have to add up the narration to the voucher. Yes.
Yes. So how do I do that?
Yeah, I will show you. Now, suppose you have made any mistake, made any changes, how to go about it. So what you can do is, you have to add up the narration now in your case. So, you can come back to the gateway of tally screen, okay? The first screen, main screen, gateway of tally screen. Go to the daybook, go to the daybook, press enter on the daybook. If you press enter on the daybook, you have your voucher, right? Which you have passed just now. All your vouchers will appear in the daybook. Daybook is a book of original book, okay, where all your entries are there. Of course, I'll be having this concept once we have done with a couple of vouchers. But since the question was raised on this, I thought I'll clarify. So here, go to the rent pay, the payment voucher which you have passed. Open up the voucher. Press enter and open up the voucher. So whatever mistakes you have done regarding amount, regarding ledger, or you have to add up the narration, keep on pressing enter until you reach that particular field or the area. Now, see, it comes to the narration. Add up the narration. Enter, accept, yes. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And for Ayushi, of course, this for you. You have not got any activation. Ayushi Gupta.
Ma'am, just
Okay?
now I got it. Ma'am, I got it just now.
You got everything?
Yes, ma'am, just now I got it.
Okay. So I hope all of you have passed the entry. Now we'll go to the next set. That is, furniture with a cost price of 20 was purchased at the cost of 18 through check. Now here, carefully you have to go. Furniture. Now what is the total value of the furniture? It is 20,000. The net price I can say. Now, company has purchased this furniture. My company has purchased. What that furniture dealer or the furniture supplier, he will give me a discount of 10%. He says, of course, you can pay 18,000, 2,000 is a discount. So the whole entry, how do we pass? And remaining 18,000 for the furniture has been paid by ICICI Bank check. Okay, so how to go about this entry? 18,000 for the purchase of furniture has been made through ICICI Bank check and 2,000 discount was received. So aggregating of 20,000 of the value of furniture. Now this I just break up in these notes. Okay. So first of all, when the company is purchasing furniture, right? So let's put up the debit and the credit aspect properly first. So this is how the debit and credit aspect appears in a payment voucher. Yes. So now, since the company is purchasing furniture, what do I do? Furniture is an asset for the company, yes. So, asset is real account. And what is the rule of real account? Debit what comes in. So, furniture is coming into the business. So, furniture account. Now, what is the total value of the furniture? It is 20,000. So, type 20,000. Next, how the amount is being paid? It is by giving a check of ICICI Bank, right? Before that, 2,000 discount has been received. Whenever we make a purchase, we receive discount. Whenever we go for a sale, we allow discount. So whenever the company is receiving discount, it becomes an indirect income for it. So when it is indirect income, nominal account, what is the rule? Debit all the expenses and losses, credit all the incomes and gains. So we have to credit the discount received ledger. So discount received, how much was discount received? 2,000 rupees. Here, right? Credit. Now how much bank through check I've paid? ICICI Bank. I've made a payment to ICICI Bank check. And what is the amount? It is 80,000. Is that clear? So debit furniture 20, credit discount 2,000, credit ICICI Bank. So this is the way we pass the entry for this particular transaction. Okay. So total value of the furniture is 20, out of which 2,000 discount has been received. Remaining 18,000 is paid by ICICI Bank. Okay. The same we have to give a replica in the Tally software. So let's go back to the payment voucher. So I'll go to the vouchers, payment voucher. So debit, what I've told, furniture. If you're having the furniture in the list of ledgers, please select it. Now I have to create it in my case. You can select furniture if you're already having a ledger. Furniture, under the group of fixed assets, cost centers are applicable, need not activate because here, if you observe in the case, have I anywhere given Furniture was purchased for Jayanagar branch or for Vasant Nagar branch or for any other branch. I'm very silent about it. I'm not disclosed, which means here cost centers need not be activated. You can deactivate the cost centers. Okay, so let cost centers know. GST applicable, not applicable. Now, debit furniture, so what is the total value? 20,000. Credit discount received. So again, we can go to the create option in the list of ledgers. Select, create as discount received under the group of indirect income. Not applicable type of ledger. Cost center by default it will become as yes. Please make it no. Cost centers no it should be. Is GST applicable? Again not applicable. Please cross check when you've created discount received ledger. Okay, so now put up the discount as 2000 rupees. Press enter. Credit. Credit. ICICI Bank, because ICICI Bank becomes the giver of funds, right? Right. Now I'm seeing ICICI Bank is having a deficient balance. Okay. All of you are getting this deficient balance here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What to do about it? It's showing a negative balance. But actually, here there is a wonderful concept to be learned. That's why I just kept up ICICI Bank. Now, my company's bank balance, I'm having sufficient bank balance. Let's say I'm having around a balance of, I'm having sufficient balance. Recently, I've transferred funds to the ICICI Bank. Now, the question comes is, now I'm already in the midst of passing the ledger. I wouldn't have updated the transfer entry of funds to the ICICI Bank. I'm having the old bank balance. I have not updated in the Tally software. Now here it is showing as negative balance. Will Tally allow me to pass the entry? It will allow you to pass the entry. This is why I'm showing you because Tally has one more special feature. It is showing a deficit balance. I pass the entry. See what happens. Yes, all of us will pass the entry. Of course, the check is given for ICICI from ICICI Bank. It's all been regulated, but in Tally software, I repeat it again, I'm having sufficient ICICI Bank balance, but in Tally software, I wouldn't have updated it. But still, I can pass the entry. And what is a further step to be taken here is most important. So I've given a check of 18,000 of ICICI Bank. I also put up the check number of ICICI Bank and pass the entry. You also do the same. Being furniture purchased,
Ma'am, can you please repeat this step, ma'am?
is your ICICI Bank having a deficit balance?
Yes, ma'am.
So press enter and have you come to the bank allocation screen?
Yes, ma'am.
In that, you give the any six-digit check number of ICICI Bank, press enter, enter, and come back to the payment voucher screen. Have you come?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you type the narration. Being furniture purchased at 10% discount through ICICI Bank. Okay. So like this, we pass the narration and we pass the entry. But here there is a negative balance. So I pass the entry here. Accept yes. Okay. Now what would have happened is I would have transferred funds to the ICICI Bank recently, but I would have forgotten to update in Tally software. So here, just observe what can happen. Now what you do is you go to the vouchers. Now go back to the contra voucher. What is the function key for a contra voucher? It is F4. Now what we'll do is we will transfer some funds to the ICICI Bank. So what do I do? Credit cash. Let's say I'm transferring 50,000 into ICICI Bank. Okay, I'll take 50 here. Amount is your choice. Here I'm transferring 50,000. Enter. I will choose ICICI Bank. So credit cash, debit ICICI Bank. This entry I would update it that I have transferred recently, putting up the date. Here I can't put up the date, so it is taken on 1st of April. Now I'm transferring cash of 50 to ICICI Bank, so I put up the denomination here 2000 into 25 notes, aggregating to 50,000. Bank name need not be given. As usual, how you pass a deposit entry. So being funds transferred into ICICI Bank. Being funds transferred to ICICI Bank. Okay. Type the narration and pass the entry. Now I've passed the contra voucher. I've updated the bank balance. Now, what you would do is press the escape key, come back to the gateway of Tally. All of you come back to the gateway of Tally once you pass the contra vouchers. Now, go back to the daybook, which is beneath the vouchers. Under transactions, you have vouchers, right? Under vouchers, you have daybook. So press enter on the daybook. Daybook will contain the list of all the entries which you have passed so far in TallyPrime. Okay? Yeah, so whichever entries you have done, everything will be recorded, shown and displayed in the daybook. What is a daybook? Daybook is a book of original entry where all transactions pertaining to various nature of vouchers will find a place in daybook. Now, what do we do is we had passed that time the entry for purchase of furniture, right? So we'll go back to the same entry, okay? And once we go back to the same entry, press enter on that. Reopen the entry again. Now, are you getting a deficit balance? What happened? We are not getting. Yes. What it means? Now 50,000 are transferred to ICICI Bank, but it's showing in my company it's showing as 40.5. In your it will be some other bank balance, but it's showing a positive a credit balance, which means that Tally will auto modify the entries. Do you get? I need not come and correct it here that I'm having this much of bank balance. Once I update the current bank balance, okay, Tally will auto modify the entries. This is a wonderful feature in Tally. I need not come and correct it, do any updations in the voucher again. I would have passed the voucher. There will be a deficit balance shown. But later on, when I pass that fund transfer entry into the bank, and then when I come and cross check with the voucher which I've passed, it would already auto modify the entry. So this is one of the most wonderful features of Tally software. So this clarity I want to give you. That's why I made you to pass through the exercise here. Is that clear? Okay. So I hope all of you have got this correction done. Okay. So this is how we pass the entries. Okay. Now there is a next entry: purchase shares in Wipro by cash and purchased computer by check of HDFC Bank. Now here two assets are being purchased. One is shares in Wipro and second is computer. Okay. So how would we pass the entry for the same? I put up the entry again. Purchase shares in Wipro at 7,000 by cash and purchase computer at 20,000 through a check payment. Okay. So this, how do we pass the entry? So this let's process. Okay. I'll go to the payment voucher. Okay, so I'm purchasing shares. Shares in Wipro, shares in Infosys become what? They become investment, right? Investments are nothing but assets. Assets real account. Debit what comes in. So what do I do? Go to the create option. Create a spot ledger as shares in Wipro. Under the group of investment, we are creating for shares in Infosys, right? When you're creating the list of ledgers, under investment, no cost centers applicability, press enter, save the ledger. Now, what is the total value of the shares? It is 7,000 rupees. Press enter. Now, the company is also purchasing computer. So, DR, so create a spot ledger as computer. Under the group of can be an investment, it has to be a fixed asset. So, FI, fixed assets. Yeah, computer belong to the fixed assets group. Cost centers as usual, no. GST not applicable. 20,000. Press enter. Now, the question is computers shares are purchased by paying cash. So, what we have to do here is select the cash ledger. Now, tally is showing that you're paying full 27,000 by cash. No, I have to give a breakup here that I'm paying only 7,000 by cash. So, change the amount as 7,000. Once you change the amount as 7,000, press enter. You have one more credit appearing here, right? So press enter. You get the list of ledgers, and over here you select the HDFC Bank ledger, and you get 20,000 here. Okay. So like this is the entry. And what kind of entries are they? They are compound journal entries. When we are having more than one debit, more than one credit, it is not a simple journal entry, but it is a compound journal entry. When there is only one debit, one credit, it is a simple journal entry. When there is more than one debit, one credit, it is a compound journal entry. Okay. So now, once you select HDFC Bank and give the amount as 20,000, press enter, you get the bank allocation for HDFC Bank. Now here, it would be given as ledger name as shares in Wipro. But you're giving a check for what of HDFC Bank? You're giving for the purchase of computer. So what you have to do is, you have to press the backspace. Press the backspace to go back to the ledger name. Press backspace, you go to the ledger name, and from shares in Wipro, you have to select computer, because for computer you're issuing a check. So select computer. Let check be as it is. Don't change the check. Okay. Press enter. Enter. Come to the instrument number, INST number. Give any 6-digit check number. Press enter. You have the instrument date. Press enter. Yes, this is how you pass the narration. B. Shares in Wipro and computer purchased.
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am, can you repeat this again? I didn't
The
get the
complete.
screen. Yes, ma'am,
You
the
didn't get.
screen.
Which screen you didn't get?
Um, the check, ma'am.
Okay,
What?
give me a second. Now, now shares in Wipro are appearing 7,000. Then computer 20,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Cash have you given as 7,000?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
HDFC Bank 20,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Now press enter. You get the bank allocation screen.
Yes, ma'am. But in your screen,
In
ledger name is showing.
as computer and your screen is showing as shares in Wipro. Correct? No.
No, ma'am. It is also not
Ah,
showing there. Just
no,
transaction type
no.
is here.
No ledger name is being displayed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think ledger name is not being displayed here.
No, ma'am.
Okay, but most important is transaction type check is appearing.
Yes, ma'am. It is appearing.
Uh, that's simple. That's it. In case if ledger is
Okay.
appearing, you have to change it. That's all. From shares in Wipro to computer. If it is not appearing, there is no issue. Okay,
Okay,
so
ma'am.
check 20, give the check number, check date, and press enter and come back to the narration. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Husna, have you got the entry for ICICI Bank, Husna? I think you put up in the chat box. You've given as you've got it. So have all of you got the entry? Okay, this is the last 5 minutes. You have any doubts? You have did any entry not done? Not clear, you can let me know.
It's going to be asking about supplier invoice for charges.
Huh? Yes, ma'am?
For payment
Yes.
vouchers, it is also asking for supplier invoice number, party account name.
I think your voice is breaking. Huh? Is it Razia? So can you want the second entry to be repeated, Razia? So which was the second entry we have passed? Furniture shares. So this is for you. See, I've got this furniture ledger. Now, Razia, this is the second entry which has been repeated. Now, since furniture is coming into the business, so we debit what comes in, right? So debit furniture. When you're creating furniture ledger, please make sure not only furniture ledger, you're creating discount receive ledger also. Make sure cost center feature is deactivated for all. Okay. So debit furniture 20,000 you give the whole amount because 2,000 you're receiving as a discount for the purchase of furniture. Okay. So debit furniture 20, credit discount received because 2,000 you're receiving discount. You have to create this ledger under the group of indirect incomes. Is that clear? So you give the amount as 2,000, again deactivating the cost centers. Then add the whole, add the gross amount, how much you're paying by issuing a check of ICICI Bank, it is 18,000. Now, when you're giving 18,000, probably your ICICI Bank would show a deficit balance. Okay, so what you can do is you can pass the entry, not an issue, by giving the check details of the ICICI Bank. What would have happened is perhaps you wouldn't have updated the ICICI Bank balance. So, still Tally will allow you to pass this entry with a negative balance, but Tally has a special quality to auto modify the bank balances. So what you can do is you can pass the entry with the narration. Then what you can do is you can pass a contra voucher where you're making a fund transfer to the ICICI Bank. So what did I do is I transferred 50,000. Once I passed the payment voucher for the purchase of furnitures, I went and passed the entry for the fund transfer made to the ICICI Bank, which I wouldn't have updated as an accountant, probably because of which it was showing a deficit balance. So what do? I transfer 50,000 into ICICI Bank. Once I pass the contra voucher, transferring 50,000 into ICICI Bank, okay, then what do is I go back to the gateway of tally screen, come back to the tally main screen, gateway of tally, and here there is a daybook option. So go to the daybook option and go to the same furniture purchase voucher, payment voucher, I think number 2, the second voucher. Reopen the voucher by pressing enter. So when you press enter and reopen the voucher, can you observe that your ICICI Bank balance will become a positive balance? It will become a, you have sufficient balance. You will have, you won't have a deficit balance there, which means what? Tally will auto modify the entries. So this is what I have shown you for the second voucher. I hope it's clear for you, Razia. Okay, done. Fine. So I hope it's clear, this session to all of you. So please make sure you have a sufficient practice, whatever has been done so far, covered so far. Okay. So we'll meet up in the next session. Until then, keep your practice consistent.